Good morning. You're watching the form off the back of what was a fantastic Grand National Carnival. We've got more quality races to look forward to this weekend, including a Group 3 up north. So to talk through all of the action, myself in studio along with Leith Innes and Aidan Rodley. Good morning to you both. And Leith, looking forward to heading up north, I'm sure.
Yes, certainly, Pip. Look, obviously there's a bit of sun out as well. The track's rated a sort of a good 5 at the moment. Hopefully it gets back to a good 4 and very strong fields, the 3-year-old races in particular.
Oh, I think that's what I'm most looking forward to this weekend, not only for the Northland Breeder Stakes, which has been a good kicking off point for a lot of horses heading towards Guineas races and things, but also at Taupo with a really good 3-year-old race and a really good 3-year-old Fillies race. So I think this is what we're looking forward to, the new season classic horses, and we get to see those this weekend.
Yeah, we certainly do, and the man that'll be on track actually at Taupo will be Bevan Sweeney. A very good morning to you, Bevan.
Hello, Pip. Hello, boys. Great to be joining you for the second new form. Yeah, look, if you go through the winners of a couple of races across the weekend past years, you really know that spring is knocking on the door. The weather's playing its part to a degree this week at both Northern and Central Districts venues. So looking forward to both Sunday and Saturday and finding a few winners here on the form this afternoon.
You cannot wait. So let's have a look what is coming up on the agenda, and we will be starting with that feature, the Cambridge Stud Group 3 Northern Breeders. Also having a look at our blackbookers for you to follow. Then the new Plymouth preview featuring, of course, the ITM Provincial. Our trial files as well. Make sure we follow these. There's a few that have been trialling very nicely. Then we'll be having a look at our bank builders and trying to find you a few more best bets for the weekend. So that's all to come. And speaking of our feature, well, this race is certainly thrown up some stars in the past.
Cambridge Stud Northland Breeder Stakes, Group 3.
We've seen some very good horses take this race out.
Whoa, look at him go. Catalyst. Boy, has he got some gears. That's as easy as you like.
Gee, what have we got here? Seriously, that is incredible.
El Rocker's in charge at the 100 metres. Got away by 2 lengths from Gobi Ranger and all decked out, and it's El Rocker 2 from 2 for Duplessis. As they go towards the post, Ferrando in front, the Soul Taker and Windspell Floyd. Heroic Bella's got there. Imperatriz ranged up to I Wish I Win, then for Rank, but it's Imperatriz. Forget about the preliminary. She's the real deal. Sacred Falls made the lead from Southern Lord, battling on to Cashman and Trevino late, but Sacred Falls and Leith Innes will win the Westbury Star Challenge Stakes. That's 3 from 3. He's a smart one, unbeaten to date, and he's a pretty smart horse too. It's Crescetti in front. He's shooting for 3 from 3, and he's got it. Whoa, look at him go. Crescetti's absolutely bolting home in the Cambridge Stud Northland Breeder Stakes. Boy, he's a sight to behold, isn't he? This is one of the outstanding form races every year.
Yes, you heard it there from George. It certainly is. I think it's a race that you really want to aim, and if you win, maybe you become something. And Leith, Sacred Falls there. Take us back to that moment.
He was an outstanding horse. We all know he went on to win 2 Doncasters. I ended up winning 6 in a row on him. He won the 2,000 Guineas, and it's just a good launching pad where those trainers can get those horses onto a good surface early in the season, and it just sort of works them out. And it's a good roll of honour there, Aidan.
It sure is.
Ones there.
You look at that Crescetti, Catalyst. Both of those 2 horses went on to win 2,000 Guineas. Madison County ran 2nd in 2018, won that race. Extravagant ran 8th in 2015, went on to win. Of course, Sacred Falls doing that double as well. It's only been a 3-year-old race for about 15 years. Before that, it was a 2-year-old race, which was run at the end of July. And back in the day, Sunline won this race.
Wow, there you go. That's some credentials, and maybe one we, I think, maybe go on the futures for the Guineas there, Aidan, on those statistics, as we do have a look at Ruakaka. Of course, that is the meeting we'll be heading to, and so the weather and track is going to be interesting. We've had some beautiful weather around there at the moment as well, Leith, so it should be good up there.
Certainly a little bit of spring in the air, Pip, and look, obviously at Ruakaka, the surface is pretty good most of the time. Obviously at the moment it's currently rated a soft 5, so hopefully it gets back to that good 4 with the weather we're receiving at the moment in that northern area. Best thing about it, the track gets back to that true position, so it could be a little bit laterish, and we have seen in the past there's been a few inside sort of fast lanes.
Yeah, just the last couple of meetings, they've gone from either a 4 or 8 metre position into the true. We've had 4 leaders win of the 8 races on both of those 2 cards, and they've all been prominent. So it does sort of favour those horses on speed, but Ruakaka tends to do that anyhow. So, but yeah, this is a really good Northland Breeders' Stakes. So.
Yeah, and those beautiful shots just from this morning there as well. So you can see it is picturesque as usual. As we take a look at the market here, race number 6 on the program, the Cambridge stud Northern Breeders at Group 3 level. Geneva for Kylie Hoskin, favourite at $2.45 clearly from Cashler Bay at $4. And then you've got Tajana there at $6. Bevan, as we get to you, do you think there's a bit of value in this race with Geneva being a standout favourite?
Before we get there, we had to go a long way back to find a Lee Thinnest winner of this race, 2012. I'm sure there was more lines on that graphic. Look, for me, Geneva, 245. Like a one-win horse with a lot of potential, might be a little bit short. Tajana's a very, very good horse. Luminance, very good last start. Cashler won a weaker race than it meets here this afternoon. So, look, Geneva's the real spruik horse in this race, but I don't think it's got it all its own way.
Okay, well, what about the speed, guys? Where do you see them settling?
Look, I thought Eliza James, probably the natural leader from barrier 6, home track advantage. She got Cashler Bay that sat outside the leader last start. Tajana probably maps a little bit of a tricky sort of gate. Yeah, they'll probably go back a little bit. Look, I don't think they're going to go overly hard, but I think it just leaves a perfect spot for Geneva.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens in those early races, just to dictate what's happening with the jockeys, because Miss Mowat or Cashler Bay, they both do have early speed, and that might just mean that Eliza James has to work a little bit to get there. Like you say, I think Geneva is probably 3 back the fence. They'll just be looking to be a little bit more patient, but ideally gets his chance.
Okay, so that's having a look at where they think will be settling. And speaking of Cashler Bay, let's take you back to the fresh, sharp performance, and it was at Ruakaka. It was under siege for a little bit here, but really kept on kicking for Andrew Forsman.
Look, the best thing about her, she came into this race fresh. She had no lead-up trial. Look, she's probably got natural improvement. She probably peaked on her run a little bit the last 50. I thought it was a good ride by Maddie, sort of elected to be positive. She did no work in the run. Eliza James was really good on the inside, I thought, and look, I think she should have natural improvement out of the race.
Yeah, just how this race sort of stacks up as a form guide. Obviously, Cashler Bay's won 2 of 7, comes from the right stable, and was, pretty clinical first up. It's just how the progression is against what is probably, it's a stronger field, isn't it?
It certainly is. Look, obviously Geneva maps to get a perfect run in the race as well, and they'll be positive. I think she maps to probably lead or sit outside leader.
Well, let's hear from Andrew Forsman and see how she has come through the race.
Really well. She's very honest, very professional, and copes with all that sort of stuff, the travel and whatnot, really well. So, no, could not be happier with her.
Obviously, it's a decent step up. It was a moderate field she beat last time. It looks like a strong enough 3-year-old race this weekend. What can you expect for her?
Yep, certainly they're all winners, and that's it's never easy to take that step up. But she's a multiple winner now, and I think she's probably up to them, and she's got the ability to put herself in the race, which is key, I think, up at Ruakaka.
Right, now let's move on to 2 other key runners, and that's Geneva and Tajana at the Taupo trials. And Sweens, we'll go to you first. What did you make, firstly, of Geneva here, all the way win?
Oh, look, this horse is really forward, clearly, from what I'm saying. Quite a strong, free-going horse who was there to be winning this trial. I just think there was plenty in this trial that really weren't there to even stretch your legs too far, and I include Tajana in that, who's doing very little midfield, and also Little Black Dress, who they never touched in that particular trial. Obviously a really free-going horse, 1 win from 1 start, a couple of decent trials. There's a big wrap on this horse. Tajana, I think, is the one that I'm going to be following throughout the whole season. I think this horse has got so much upside and probably could have been right in the mix in that trial if they'd wanted. But of those runners, Geneva looks the one most forward for today. But, gee, man, I've got a lot of time for Tajana going forward, boys.
Look, yeah, certainly, and the trial before that, he was at Avondale. They didn't move on over half a mile on a heavy sort of 10 track. So he's going to strip very fit this week. He's a magnificent looking horse by time tests. Obviously a homebred by Jamora Bloodstock as well.
Yeah, one thing about that debut that Bevan's speaking about was it happened at Te Rapa in May. Now there was one other race that day at 1100 metres, and that was an open handicap, which Velocious won, and Geneva on debut ran a quicker time. So it just says, you know, the yardstick is there for a horse who has been ideally set up, as Leith said, 2 trials, one a really good trial first up at Avondale, and then more a tick-over trial, and still winning that at Taupo. So it goes into it nicely. Bevan did mention Tajana, who's obviously ran 4th in a Manawatu size produce stakes, was promoted into 3rd. Maybe just looking for more of a Guineas preparation, but you know, got to be respected as well.
And look, Tajana's first up run was against Return to Conqueror as well in a listed race at Ellerslie. So look, she's probably a little bit underdone for this race, I thought. Look, she was a very quiet trial, but they'll know she's in.
I think we're agreeing that they're the class horses of this race, just how this race sort of fits into their preparations.
Well, let's find out from Sean Ritchie, co-trainer of Tajana, and see what he thinks about how forward she is.
Tajana's done particularly well up here. She's obviously a lovely filly. She was a great run in the size produce, and of course beating the top colt at Matamata was a superb performance as well. She's just still coming through in the coat, and the main goal is November in the 1,000 guineas. So obviously that'll be her main target, but we're expecting a nice run from her. She'll probably get back, and it might not be a suitable Saturday with the rail back in the normal position, but she's a classy filly. She'll be hitting the line extremely strong.
Okay, now from her, we're going to take you to the Central Districts, the Listed Rider Stakes, where Luminance for Curtis Pertab did finish 2nd on this occasion. Sweens, you were on track. What did you make of it?
Good performance, and that was off the back of a really good effort at Trent, where Curtis really tested the filly by time test. So time test sitting with a couple of nice horses in this particular race. He didn't really follow through time test, but look, the winner of this race is very smart and hugged the rail in the worst of it and won nice. Could have won by more. So I think Platinum Diamond's right up there. I think Luminance maybe has to take a slight step up again, but the horse is going really, really nicely. Will put itself right on speed, I think, Luminance. The better track conditions, probably the biggest niggle for Luminance with its overall record, but going the right way, boys, this horse.
Look, she was very good for 2nd there. They ran 1:17. They're going to be running about 1:10.5 on Saturday. It's a little bit of a question mark for me, but she deserves a chance in the race, but I can't have her in my top 3 anyway.
I agree with Bevan that she does sort of map pretty well. I had her in the 1-1, but even speaking to Curtis at track work, which I think we're about to grab, that's his concern as well, just the difference from, you know, heavy 10 to a soft 5, which is looking like it's improving as well.
Yeah, well, let's hear from Curtis and get that interview.
She's come through the rider very well. We haven't done a lot with her in between, just keeping her fresh. The trip to Otaki can sometimes take it out of them. Yeah, no, very happy with her.
What have you done with her training-wise this week?
She just had a good hit out on the grass yesterday. Sam Collett, she's riding her Saturday. She galloped her, and all reports were very good. So yeah, going into it pretty happy.
Okay, that's a look at the form. Now we've got to try and pick one out of this really good field. Leith, who are you with?
Look, I just think the 2 trials under his belt, Geneva, I think you'll go back in history and go, how did he pay $9 when he won first up at Te Rapa? I've got a lot of respect for Geneva, Tajana.
Yeah.
Look, I like Geneva. He's currently $14 in the futures for the 2,000 guineas as well. So I think he's a real deal, this horse.
Yep, we're going to find out, aren't we? Obviously, really good debut, really good trials leading in, gets into a sweet spot in this race, we think, you know, 1-1 or 3-back defence. It's just, you know, whether a horse like Cashler Bay is more forward. Yokozuna was okay the other day too, and Tajana probably taking steps. But yeah, I'm with Leith, I'm with Geneva.
Yeah, and Kylie Hoskin's been quite vocal about what she thinks of him too. Are you going that way as well, Sweens, to make it a 3-peat with him?
Oh, I just like to swim against the tide of fraction. If the 2 boys are on, I'll find something else. Look, it might not be Tajana's day on Saturday, but you follow the filly by Darcy Brahma. She is going to win a decent race in this preparation. She'll be right in the mix down at Riccarton by the time that race comes. She's got the class. Her record is miles above Geneva's at this present moment. Geneva's had 1 start, 1 win. Aidan's talked about the times. We'll see. We will see, but Tajana is one to really follow. I do respect Geneva. Cashler Bay's got the fitness on its side, but look, hey, we can't all have the same thing. That'll be a boring show, so I'll go with Tajana at a little bit of value.
All right, we like that, Sween. So that's a look at the feature. Now let's have a look at the open 1400 metres, and we see a couple of very good horses step out in this as well, including Tuxedo, who returns to the racetrack. $2.50 in this market. Obviously, Abana's got the big weight. He's down there at $11. Two locals in this market, Rewards Smile and Illicit Dreams. Now, I know he's starting over shorter, Sweens, but he has won fresh up as a maiden over the 14. Is that a good price around Tuxedo?
That's about right, I think, in my mind. He's the class act in this particular race, as he showed through the last preparation. I loved him when I first saw him at OTEC, and he just followed through with that. His trial, which we'll show you shortly, I thought suggested that he is really ready to rock and roll. But interesting race, 250, fresh up. There is a niggle there, but I think it's about right on his exposed record.
Okay, how do you see the race setting up, guys?
Look, I think the home track horse, Illicit Dreams, obviously the 1400 metres, a little bit of a question mark, but it's home track, they'll be positive. She'll be leading from gate 1. Look, I thought, look, Bosch maybe go forward, but it just doesn't seem any speed in the race.
Absolutely, and those two horses, Bosch, Segundo, they're better known over longer trips, so they might even be further back. Illicit Dreams gets this just absolutely on a plate, the lead, and because of that, the extra trip, it's just taken out of play. This will be a sit sprint.
And maybe Michael might be positive on Tuxedo.
I think
a small
so.
field, he might get in the 1-1.
Yep.
Okay, well, that'll be interesting. Let's have a look at Tuxedo. We'll take you back to the Taupo trial here, where he does finish second in behind Age of Discovery, and he was pretty eye-catching here, Sweens.
Oh, he's a big boy, isn't he? He's a beautiful horse. Look, I agree with the boys, there's a niggle on that speed map, but if he's close enough, he is well and truly good enough. And I thought he would just keep improving out of that last preparation. He looks to have, he wasn't touched this day. The jaw's the only real niggle in my mind, but I think he's got the leg speed to win over 1400 metres. If Michael is positive, he could be stalking Illicit Dreams, and I think he'll beat him if he's close enough.
Yeah, he certainly could. It's going to be up to Michael if he's a little bit positive, and he probably will be. His trial was brilliant. They had the handbrake on the whole way. Look, he's one of those horses. He's travelled to OTEC. He likes travelling. Obviously, he's based at the Ruakaka at the moment with Sean, so there's certainly a bit to like about him, and especially on that trial, he's come back better than ever.
Yeah, he was a Group 3 winner that day in the Wellington Stakes at Otaki, and of course he went on to win a Group 2 Waikato Guineas as well. But he was a winner fresh up over a shorter trip, and on that trial, you know, there's no reason why he couldn't actually sit into second or third spot in this race and just be stalking Illicit Dreams and potentially run over the top.
Yeah, class is permanent. Let's find out from his co-trainer Sean Ritchie how he's travelling.
Look, I really like the way the race maps for Tuxedo this Saturday. The top weight's a very good horse, Sabana, but he's got to give us 8 kilos. And with 54, it's just a nice little kick-off to present us 3 weeks later into the Presea plate. Deliberately sort of dodged Te Rapa on purpose, knowing it would be a hard run, 1200 metres. And with him being up here for the week, it'd be like a home track. His work on Wednesday was superb on the track, and it's going to be awfully hard to beat in this race.
Okay, from there, we're going to take you back to some local form. We'll take you back to the Waipu Cup up at Ruakaka, and it was Rewards Smile who came down the outside here to beat Illicit Dreams. Do you think the wet surface brought him in, Lee?
Probably helped him a little bit. Look, obviously he's hard fit. Obviously ex-Hong Kong horse as well, Aidan. And look, he's Jenna Mahoney. She's really found the trip to him. Very good ride this day. Obviously Matt Cameron gets on this week. So, look, he's well weighted, 54.5. Babe Barrier 3, that can be a spot handier too.
Yeah, Illicit Dreams gets in 1.5 kilograms better on this. And in a sit sprint, I thought Illicit Dreams probably was, you know, the better chance here, even allowing for the fact that Matt Cameron's on. He's going absolutely super. Great to see him back in the ranks as well. So, yeah, for mine, just everything comes back to Illicit Dreams, especially how soft this horse is going to get it. So, yeah, that's my concern here. Okay,
Bevan, what were your thoughts?
Look, I'm going to go with Tuxedo team. I think the horse looked outstanding at the trials. I loved him through last preparation because they had a flick in the Derby, and I thought he was pretty brave. He just probably didn't quite run it out the last 100 metres or so. I think he's actually suited at 1400 metres on Saturday. When Sean talks that glowing about a horse, I think they'll be really positive with him. He'll be close enough. I think he's one of the better bets of the weekend. But I think the price is about right with that niggle in the map.
Yeah, I only go the home track horse, Illicit Dreams. I know 1400 metres, she hasn't won there before, but she loves her home track. Certainly wouldn't be surprised if Tuxedo comes out and wins. And if I was sitting at home having a bet, I'd want to get on Tuxedo at 14s in the Prasia Plate.
Yeah, I'm sure that's where
2 weeks' time, 1,400 metres, he's going to be primed for that race.
Yeah, Group 1 weight for age. This is that will be a step up from what he's got here, but as Sean said, you know, Habana in there at 62. He's a good horse. He's a Ritual Mile winner. Tuxedo does come in beautifully here. If he can get over the top of Illicit Dreams, I think he wins.
Okay, it'll be interesting if you want to get involved on that price. That's our look at Ruakaka. We're going to take a quick break now on the form. Don't go anywhere though. Our Black Bookers are coming up. Welcome back into the form. We've found you some more horses to follow in the coming weeks, so make sure you pull out that black book. And these are the horses we think you should be following. Leith, as usual, you're up first. Who do you like?
Look, Pip, Joe Warden's back from Melbourne, and look, he had a spectacular return. Secret Beau, he won by 4.5 lengths, and not only did he win by 4.5 lengths, he ran the best sectionals all day. Look, he's having a little break. He's going to give him a bit of a freshen up. He's, I'm Invincible 4-year-old, and look, he's going to come back for Cup Week, maybe rating 65, 1,200 metres, and I can tell you now, he's not going to be just a poly horse.
No, exactly. That was some sort of win. I'm going to take you to Taupo. I was really taken by what we saw from Stewart this day. It was a terrific effort in a race that did favour those on speed. Stewart's got home in the quickest. All closing sections, 8, 6, 4 and 2. And you look at the recent form, since he's won at Harwood 3 starts back, he's run second at Ruakaka, second at Taupo. It's really good form from one who's just knocking on the door. I think will be a next up winner.
I didn't want to bore everyone with Perfect Pete as a tracker again, but when a senior rider goes on that horseback, it'll win. This is Night Elf for Guy Larry. This is its debut at Harwood the other day. It got back. Jay Riddell had to work quite hard on this horse, and I love the last bit of Night Owl's work. I think it'll improve massively out of its next start, and on a wet track somewhere midweek, it'll be winning Night Owl for the Larry and Zeidenboss team.
Okay, and I'm taking you to Avondale Trials. This one for Glenn Old. Melchior's had 2 trials for 2 wins. Finishes off really nicely here for Jasmine Fawcett, and had the fastest time actually over the 800 metres for the trials of the day. A couple of nice ones in behind too from the Roger James and Rob Wellwood stable to follow, but I really think Melchior looks like a nice one for Glenn, this 3-year-old gelding by Farnan. So note them down. Hopefully we've found you a few winners as well to follow in the coming weeks. You can see them down, put them in a little black book, and there should be, fingers crossed, some winners coming up there. From there, we're going to be taking a look now at New Plymouth. Of course, it is the ITM Provincial Day as well, so the provinces are going to war. We go to you, Sweens. Now, we know we've had a bit of bad weather around at the moment. Are we getting nicer weather this weekend?
It is definitely on the improve. I see upgraded to a heavy 9 at the present moment, and the forecast is actually really, really good heading into race day. So it might even improve further than that. Just updated on the website, heavy 9. So it could get into an 8, maybe even to a 7 there at New Plymouth. Now, the real niggle about Saturday is what happened last time we were there, and the rail was in the 4 metre position. There was 160 odd mils fell going into race day that day. They haven't had anything like that going in to Saturday. Last time we were there, Zanzibar and Shelby Rocking ran a couple of crazy rating numbers. But are they just outliers in the mix? I'm not 100% sure of that, and exactly how this track is going to play is a little bit of a mystery. Maybe a little bit fairly as the track gets better and better, but it's a bit of a head scratcher after what we saw last time there at New Plymouth.
Yeah, it really is. It throws a few spanners into the woodwork, doesn't it, as we have a look here at the market to race number 7 on the program, unless it is later on the day if the track is drying here in Belle's. Beau is your favourite at $5.50. Gurney at $6 there. Zanzibar, one that Bevan's mentioned, at $6.50. And look at the move around Loch Katrine already, $14 into 8 swings. So a real move around that runner.
It's a good race, really good race this year's Interprovincial, brought to you by ITM. I think it's probably as strong as it's been in a long, long period of time. I think Belle's Beau deserves to be favourite, and I'm not sure the gate's going to be in against by race number 7 for Belle's Beau. The other horses in this race, Tobias has been there and done that at $8. Juranui's tough as. Zanzibar won clearly here in a ridiculous number when they just couldn't make up any ground. But I think Zanzibar probably has the same sort of ability as we go into today, and she'll be rocking around another crazy number out there longer. I reckon it's a really good race this season, boys, the ITM Interprovincial.
Yeah, certainly. Look, hopefully we get a nice fair playing service. Obviously the inside was on fire last time. Like Zanzibar, look, last start led on the track. Does look like a little bit of speed from the outside. Yeah. It's been a big field. It does look like good, genuine sort of tempo, like your Hacksaw Ridge led last start. They won't be leading again on him. Tobias, another horse that goes forward, Rod?
There's no reason that Zanzibar has to lead this again. I think they probably will do the same with Shelby Rockenby. That's how it worked. But both of those horses running the quickest first 400 and the quickest last 8, 6, 4 and 2. But that was the way of the day.
I think Zanzibar with Rahan Goramon with 2 kilos gets down to 52.5. You know, we've seen it in the past. Andrew Forsman, he'll be positive, he'll read the play, and he does look the natural leader for mine.
Yeah, and you're right. And we'll have a look at that run from Zanzibar because it was such an on-front running bias that day and he went straight to the lead, but he obviously races that way anyway, Aidan.
It was a dominant performance and they just got it right. You know, they understood what was going on for the day. Jonathan Riddell just went forward and it was a really clinical win. The horse is now 2 from 2 at New Plymouth, and while it ran just a slightly slower time than Shelby Rockin, does drop 7.5 kilograms, whereas Shelby Rotten is going up 2.5. So there's 10 lengths on the weight swing. So it probably comes down to more like 6, but this horse has got to be very hard to beat.
I just don't know how the form stacks up, Aidan. That's the problem here. Shelby Rocken's form hadn't been great going into the meeting, and one with a leg in the ear. Look, this is a good horse, Zanzibar. I've got no doubt about that. The improving track conditions, I think, play slightly against Zanzibar. There's going to be more speed, I think, than you think in this particular race. So I do think it might just set up for a back marker. Frean, with the 2 kilos off, he has every opportunity to win the race. Clearly, he's waited to win the 5-year-old by Z. But I just keep on going back. Actually, the second horse in Zanzibar's race came out and was beaten the lip post that particular run. So anything that got home from back has been going nicely. Yeah, I agree. It should be right in the mix. I'm just not 100% convinced in this type of race.
OK, well, let's find out what his trainer thinks. Here's Andrew Forsman.
You put a margin into them, but like you say, was that because of the bias? Was he, did that flatter him a little bit? I guess we'll find out as he meets better opposition on the weekend.
Yep. You happy with him going into this one?
Yeah, really happy. He's been up a little while now, but like I said, he's bright and well, looks good in the coat still for this time of the year, so he's going really well.
There you go, he's going very well. So is this runner, though. We're going to take you to Belle's Beau at the recent trials. And again, Sweens, you had a recent look at this with Bozo finishing second and behind. Kelly was aboard this day and look, a really nice trial.
Oh, he's a good horse, Belle's Beau. He's now 5-year-old, looked like his season. This is a very good trial, and I think the run in the Opunake Cup was also pretty solid as well. The only real concern is he carries the 60 against a Zanzibar who's carrying the 52.5. But if everything goes to plan, I do think the gate probably isn't going to be against Belle's Beau by this part of the day on a track that has had a bit of action on it and wet track conditions. I really like the horse going forward. The weight is the biggest concern for me, and I think that might just play out as we get deeper into the day. Those in this race, the lighter weights might really come into it.
Yeah, I'm against him. I think the gate 14 is a negative at the start at the New Plymouth there. I think the track's going to improve. 60 kilos. I know home track advantage is going to suit him, but I've got respect for him, but I just can't have him above Zanzibar this week.
Yeah, I've gone Zanzibar. Like, I made this horse a tracker from it, even though we looked at the bias. On times and on what we said. And I love that claim. I love the big weight drop. It's not a bad race. There's some good horses and with real claims, but I thought Zanzibar had the strongest claim.
OK, I'll go against Lath. I'll go Belle's Beau. I think this is the most talented horse in this particular race going forward. I think it's been rock solid all season. When you go back, its form, beaten forward, Bellardo Boy was a winner prior to that. Close up in an Opunake Cup. I think the rest of this field are probably rising in class of fraction to meet Belle's Beau. So even with the 60, happy enough to go with the favourite.
Not surprised to see Swain sticking local there as we now take a look at the Open 1800 metres on the program. Nigella Lane is Open favourite at $4 from Swinging Our Way at $4.20 and Rosetown Princess is backing up at the $5 from Tarapa. Leith, who's the one that stands out for you?
Look, honestly, yeah, I think Nigella Lane's the best horse in the race. Look, I just put a line for that last race. I don't know what happened. Maybe the run at Rotorua took a bit out of her. Look, she meets a pretty sort of average sort of field here over 1800 metres. One thing I will say, I think they have to be positive with Rahan on.
Yeah.
There's just no speed in the race at all.
Yeah.
So look, I found it a really hard race to map, but I just thought she's the class horse of the race. LJ, you just don't know what Mr. Myers is doing with him if he's just having a fitness run either.
And she does have tactical speed if they want to use it. Like, she can sit into third or fourth spot. I thought it was probably pick of the litter and wheel it in who went forward. The query is, though, like, she did miss last time out, and like she's had a fairly taxing campaign. You know, Rotorua Cup win was very good, and then she was really good last time out. But Tamariri Cup was a real head scratcher, so that is a concern. She's a class horse. So I've got her on top, but it's a race where I'm really puzzled about.
I don't think any horse outside of LJ could win a Rotorua Cup in this particular race. So you're completely 100% right, boys. This is the class act of the field. 2 kilos coming off 55 kilos. Look, it was pretty much fresh up at Rotorua over a mile, then went 2,200 metres. So you can make an excuse for Nigella Lane. Happy enough to go with Nigella Lane at a decent sort of price for mine. I think the $4 will not hold up come Saturday. I think this will also be closer to 3 and maybe in under that particular quote. Class might play out there. I'm pretty sure Nigella Lane is the top selection in that race.
Look at that, everyone agreeing. I think that's the first time so far this morning. So Nigella Lane in the Open 1800 metres, as we're also going to have a look at the sprint, and we see a good horse resume here in the Open 1400 metres in Ladies Man at $2.60. Then you've got Make Time, obviously Ladies Man, he's got that claim, but he's still got a big weight to carry. Leith, so you're with him or not?
Yeah, they probably could have called this 8 and 9-year-old handicap, mate. Look, it's a small field. Obviously, a lot of these horses are getting fit. Ladies Man's probably the best horse in the race, but I thought Make Time, hard fit, Lisa Ladder, Amber Waddell gets down to 52 kilos, fought Poppy overs.
Yeah, it's got a big task on Ladies Man, but he's a 2-time Group 1 winner, including one last season in the TRB Mufasa Classic. Blinkers come off, but 62's tough. I was just with Tavis Court, who was really dominant 2 starts back in the small field at Harwater, so I was that way in front of Charger Bar, who's won 6 of 15 at the track. I'd be interested to know what Bevan's got here.
Bevan?
This is a race that just the leader wins, I think. Ladies Men looked great at the trials, I will say that. Looked absolutely fantastic coming up. Charjaba loves this joint, and I think they'll lead on that. 3 kilos coming off 54.5 will be very, very tough to run down. A very good 9-year-old on his day, Charjaba, for local and Tina Egan. So I'm going to Charjaba.
Okay, thanks, Swains, and that does complete our look at New Plymouth. So make sure you're tuning in to the ITM Provincial Day. But for now, it is time for our trial files. Yes, as we build towards spring, we've got some really good horses stepping out. Leith, you found some more for us.
Yeah, Avondale on Tuesday, Pip. Look, girls. The Donna Logan trained Kylie Back's syndicated horse, North Pacific bred, 3-year-old filly having her first trial. Look, she was a little bit tardy away and very green, and just like what I saw the last sort of 200 metres, she got balanced up, and look, she'd never been on the grass before either, so she's definitely one to follow. I talked to Donna Logan this morning, and she probably has one more trial, and then she'll find a nice maiden somewhere, and she's definitely one to put in your...
Tip of the hat to Dance, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Girls. Yeah. You went a few girls in your day?
Oh, stop it. This is too early for that talk.
It's easy. Look, this is a horse that's had 3 races. Obviously, Roger James and Robert Wellwood trained horse. Michael McNabb was on at the trials here, and she's a maiden. She won't be a maiden for very long. The camp's unsure where she kicks off, but going by this, she's come back big and strong, the horse by Russian Revolution.
Yep, really nice trial for sure. I'm going to take you back to Saturday. There was a really good trial at Tarapa. Obviously, we know how good Alabama Lass is. She's gone to Flemington and won. She will go first up into a Moir Stakes. Will come up against, we heard this week, La Dorada, who goes in there as a 3-year-old filly.
50 kilos as well.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So that's going to be an interesting clash between a couple of good Kiwis up against some really good Australian horses as well. And behind, it's a really nice run from Sacred Satano.
He's
on the
favourite
trail.
from Bucks too.
Exactly. Dalio there into second. Some really nice runs further back, the likes of Legato, but she is absolutely cruising Alabama Lass.
I'm going to highlight one that races actually in the Interprovincial, Just Charlie. These are the trials at Awapuni on Tuesday. A long sort of forecast towards a New Zealand Cup with Just Charlie. This is as soft as it gets from him. I think he's come up massively, Just Charlie, for Kevin Myers, 6-year-old by Zed. Danjero wins this under a bit of duress. He is smoking his pipe in the centre of the track, Just Charlie. Wouldn't even surprise me if he does win the Interprovincial over 1,600 metres fresh up if the track continues to improve. He's flying.
Okay, I like that. And already this weekend, but maybe a long track to that New Zealand Cup. So there you go. Leith with Girls, and Steezy, Just Charlie for Bevan, and Alabama Lass for Aiden. Make sure you note them down, and hopefully they'll be winning too very shortly. Well, for us, we have got more coming up on the floor. Make sure you stick around because our bank builders aren't far away. Welcome back in. We've got some really good action on Sunday out of Taupo, particularly some nice 3-year-olds going around in the Colts and geldings race, as well as the Fillies. So this will be our Sunday Spruik team. And well, this is again another meeting that really does throw up some nice horses.
It certainly does. Obviously, I just have a feeling that the girls might be stronger this year again.
Okay.
Look, the boys' race, there's a few first starters. Obviously, there was a trial and they weren't allowed to enter the race. Look, I thought Fat Cat to Bravery Born, 2 horses to watch.
Some really nice horses. And even in the Maiden 1,000, we've got some nice horses. So good racing on Sunday because of Woodville as well, with some important leads up to Pakuranga Hunt Cup and things.
And Bevan, you're heading down to Taupo. So what's the weather and track looking like?
Yeah, heading across, going to Plymouth Taupo. It'll be an interesting drive on Saturday night. Don't forget there's 2 trials there as well, which is a real lead into the spring for some of our senior horses. But weather forecast is very, very good. Soft 6 at the present moment. You'd imagine it's getting into that 5 or 4 range. Now, there are some showers forecast for Sunday, but at this stage it's a chance of a shower in the afternoon. So I think we'll have pretty good going for what is traditionally a real kick-off meeting in the North Island for our spring 3-year-olds.
It really is, and that's what we want to hear as far as the weather goes. So let's take a look at the first of those races, race number 6 on the program, and this is the Colts and Geldings, where you've got to Bravery Born, $1.80 from a Fat Cat at $3, and then on that third line of betting along, well, fourth line together, joint there, you've got Faultless and Affirmative Action, but really it's about the top 2 in the book here. Now, can you see a bit of speed in this race, guys?
Well, yes, you can. Fat Cat was really good last start, probably the natural leader, but you've got Affirmative Action, Wave Ruler. They all showed a little bit of speed at the trials. Magic Carpet having his first start, he was handy at the trials. Mission Complete was handy at the trials. So just sort of maps to give to Bravery Born a really nice, cosy run in the race.
Oh, well, I think what will happen here is, especially early in their 3-year-old preparations, that they'll be mindful of just what's to come. So I think they'll get there, they'll find your positions, and then the speed will probably come out. So if you can get there without doing a lot of work, I think it's really advantageous.
Okay, and we've got Fat Cat there obviously leading, and he did just that too when he was well supported here and picked up a very nice win as well. Bevan, how do you think he matches up with a horse like to Bravery Born?
Well, even though at this stage he was a 2-year-old, he really looked like a man amongst boys actually, and size-wise. This race is not overly strong outside of his performance, let's be frankly honest about it, but he did it with a lot of aplomb. He's by Written Tycoon out of Diamonds Galore, so you hope he can gallop, and clearly he can. If he jumps, he runs. He's up against a couple of smart ones here, boys, but if he does dominate this race from a forward position and the speed comes out, they'll have to be right on their game that they don't let this horse slip away.
Yeah, look, only 1,100 metres. It's a bit of a tactic sort of race, especially at Taupo. It's a difficult track to ride sometimes. Sometimes you get to the top of the bend there at the half mile and you also run straight ahead. So, look, it's going to be hard for the first starters, especially running against these horses that have won races. And, look, I thought To Bravery Born was the one they all had to beat, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Karaka Million fourth placing from To Bravery Born, trialled up, more than adequately. It's just where Fat Cat, with it, like Leith said, he's got that race experience under his belt, and he does let Maps to get a soft lead. But To Bravery Born did show plenty of ability as a 2-year-old. It looks like he's come back nicely as a 3-year-old from this trial.
Yeah, look, he won the first 2-year-old race of the season at Wanganui as well, and look, he wasn't pressured there, and look, I thought Faultless was okay in one of the other trials. Sam McNabb gets the 4 kilos off, so he sort of
and won nicely last prep.
Maps to sit just outside leader.
And do you agree, Swings, is it To Bravery Born?
Oh, look, I think To Bravery Born is the yardstick in this particular race by quite some margin. I did like the trial. Opie's aboard. I think I couldn't go past To Bravery Born. I didn't mind Affirmative Action for Pam Gerard, just looking through the trials. And there is a horse in there you boys might know, or Aidan, you might know. Amber Dynasty for the Foots has gone a couple of really good trials. I'm waiting for that horse to be unleashed, but To Bravery Born, I think, is the yardstick in this particular race.
Yeah, I agree. I have liked what we've seen from Affirmative Action, Bevan, and by all accounts, Pam Gerard, when we spoke to her on Wednesday morning, was wrapped with the way that this horse has progressed. Said the track work on Wednesday morning was absolutely top draw. However, I just think those horses with the race experience might have the edge, so I've gone To Bravery Born on top.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, it's very hard having a first start at Taupo against race winners, and To Bravery Born, he's just well weighted, 57 kilos, minimum 56, so I thought he was one of the best bets of the week.
Okay, confident there, Leith. As we now move on to the girls, let's have a look at the fillies here. And race number 7 on the program, To Cap It All at $3.40 from Littleback Dress at $4.20, In Haste at $5, and Lady Iris at $7's the other runner here in figures. But again, Sweens, it's a pretty good price around To Cap It All with her form leading in.
Yeah, a nice horse, tough, filly by Capitalist. Maybe the market will show us which way we really need to go, and it seems to already be going to Cap It All, coming out of the Marsh Barn. That said, I couldn't have been more impressed with Littleback Dress last preparation. Knocked off a few bigwigs at Ellerslie in the second start. They did nothing on the filly by Snitzel at the trials. I expected it to be booming home, but To Cap It All looked fantastic when we saw it at Taupo trials.
Okay, how do we see it setting up?
Look, I found it a hard map.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Stephen Marsh runners, you got Lady Iris has been leading a race day, Littleback Dress, Tale of Gypsy, but then we saw at the trials, he dropped them all back. So I don't think there'll be as much pressure as you think in this race. I know it's a bigger field than the boys. Look, I thought To Cap It All, they'll use a draw. Lollapalooza, she's a very, very good horse. I think they'll be a little bit positive with her as well.
Yeah, it was unlucky in assisting mistakes at Group 1 last preparation. Yeah, again, these horses have got so much in front of them, so what happens? I thought Intention would probably just take a sit, but a horse who showed any amount of ability last preparation.
He really did, so did To Cap It All, as we take you back to the Group 1 Sistema Stakes. And for her to sit 3 wide right throughout in this running and still manage to stick on for third, it was super impressively.
It was a massive run. Look, by all accounts, she's come back bigger and stronger as well. Look, you got to remember her first win was at Wellington in a listed race as well. And look, she's one of those horses. She's so professional. She does everything right. And she was game in this race. This is a Group 1 form, She doesn't have to improve too much on this to be one of the top horses to beat on Sunday.
Absolutely. Taylor the Gypsy, who is dual accepted for another race, pretty good into 4th, and Lollapalooza just ran out of racing room on the inside there, but To Cap It All, I agree, has a lot of ability. I think they were looking to trial her, but as Leith said, the 3-year-old's not going. Little Black Dress has been going well, a couple of good wins from last preparation, and another one who did trial the other day. I think the race form stacks up pretty well.
I think this race, obviously, Lady Iris, the stablemate, came out late and probably would have lost it in the room anyway. Look, I thought, both of them had really quiet trials at Taupo. They might just ride her a little bit quiet, I thought, just to sort of, you've got the 1,000 guineas in the back of your mind, so you don't want to be jumping out and leading around Taupo first up.
I don't think she has to lead. I think they indicated that recently at the trials, which I thought was a really, really good trial from Littleback Dress, and I also thought The Cap It All was hard held in behind them recently at the trials. But I know the boys are going to go forward To Cap It All. I'm going to give you that future one looking forward down towards Rickeners. Again, if Littleback Dress doesn't win on Saturday, there's a win in that horse very, very shortly. She's bred to be very, very smart. She's shown us she is in 2 runs through that 2-year-old season. I did very little on her at the trials recently. I think she'll be booming home late over the 1100 metres. But Taupo, pretty tough to really get across the top of a couple of smart horses. Intention for the CD going well for Mike Brezen as well.
Yeah, a horse who was 5th in a Manawatu size last preparation and I think won a Group 2 Wakefield Challenge Stakes. So, yeah, respect to her first up. She just won't have the tactical speed for Taupo, I don't think. Just a couple of things from the track this week. Rogan Norville saying that Lottie Dottie was probably the pick of their 3 for Graham Richardson, and Stephen Marsh saying that Lady Iris is probably the most forward of his trio. However, I'm pretty sure that To Capital is probably the most classy, and for that reason I've gone with her on top. Leith, who's for you?
Yeah, I've just gone for Jaws. To cap it all. Look, Lollapalooza's a very good horse, Lodi Dodi, and Hayes had a nice quiet trial at Taupo, little back dress. It's a very, very good race, and it's just for To Cap It All, I think Michael's going to get the perfect run just behind the speed.
Okay, so there you go, To Cap It All. Now, make sure you tune into that action on Sunday's session. But for us, we're going to get you some bank builders. So, Leith, you start first. What have you found for us?
Oh, look, I nearly got them all right last week, Pip. It was
yes.
sort of Michael McNabb, he sort of come out. If he just sort of had a good draw, I think he would have won on Indian Gold.
Hope you told him off.
Well, I was sort of a little bit annoyed. My thumb was hurting a little bit. Look, I'm going to go this week, Pip. I'm going to go back to Taupo on Sunday. Race 1, Tempest Moon. I have her top 3. And then I'll have Quando, race 3.
Look nice, trials too, Quando. Yeah, look really nice.
Craig Grill's on this week as well.
Yeah, okay. I found Michael McNabb right early at Taupo and with Grace early on there, and obviously Queen of Kings is a long time maiden. However, the last few runs, if you just take those in isolation, this horse would be $1.50. However, there's a long string of close misses, but I think this is the day, surely.
Could have, would have, Leith. If I'd been 50 kilos lighter, I could have been a jockey. I'm going to go with a horse in race number 2. That will be Florin, who was really good in the 65 at Te Rapa last time. This is a smaller field. It might miss away by 100 metres, but I think it's close enough to win this race. And what have we got there? 370. There's a bit of money for explosive impact. I think Florin with a kilo off might be one that is very tough to beat on Saturday.
Okay, I really like that one too, Swans, and hopefully when we come back next week it'll be a clean sweep. For now, we're going to take a break. Stick with us, we've got more coming up off the other side.
Oh, got into you. Spreading all the news. Oh, got into I'm just living that life.
I go Misdemeanor race 2 on Friday at Cambridge.
Misdemeanor's taken the lead, led by 2. Voldemort out wide, looks to run on. Battling away as Park, and then Rufus as Misdemeanor was vastly superior to them today. In the hands of Sam Collett, and Misdemeanor bolted in.
I fancy a horse on Sunday at Hara, Talia in the maiden 21.
Talia, Craig Grills draws clear here with 150 metres to go, 4 lengths in front. Takes time, Jack's Pride, Featherback is onshore and Guyton Street, but it's all Talia. Talia's going to win it by almost 4 lengths.
I've gone for Cyprus, who was so impressive winning in rating 65 company last week. Goes up to a rating 75.
But inside the 200 metres, Cyprus is 2 lengths clear. Thomasina, I Spy, then Movie Girl, Magna Star. Cyprus getting tired now. Thomasina coming back at it. I Spy as well. Movie Girl late. Cyprus needs the line, and Cyprus is going to win it.
Yeah, the trainers outdid us. I think last week, Sam Minot there and Shane Crawford getting up. Aidan, well done with the best. Cyprus, do we give you half there since you stole Bevan?
Yeah, it's just a little tick. In my column, obviously that was what we were trying to do. It did shorten up, obviously, again, and Bevan was keen, but he didn't go for it, so his loss.
And we already talked about Indian Gold, didn't we?
Too heavy for who knows. Couldn't get out into the fast strap on the outside there. But look, yeah, the trainer's done well, I thought.
Well, I can just put a line through mine because mine was scratched, so I just get a, to the side maybe this week. In the meantime, let's have a look what the trainer's like again this week.
What about from the stable? Is there something you can point us to for our segment this week?
You know, it's too early in the morning, Aidan, for these sorts of questions, my son. Yeah, I would think that you get a bit of excitement out of Zenith at Taupo.
We're thinking Ruakaka down at Taupo on Sunday. He's going to race really well. He's in good form and loves going left-handed. He'll rail down there and keep up a strong gallop in the Warriors on Friday night.
I've only got the one runner, but I'm going there with pretty confident. No, she trialled up really well at Taupo, and I got a lot of time for her. She sort of things went a little bit wrong towards the end of her 3-year-old year, but she's come back bigger, brighter and healthier than ever, so pretty confident with this time, girl.
Probably Bad Education, I think it'd be the best one. Off his last run, a nice third, better track this week, hopefully without the weather. Yeah, so he should be, should improve a bit more.
Very happy with Zanzibar. I think he's very well weighted, dropped significantly, got the ability to put himself on pace, always an advantage at New Plymouth.
Hopefully, Age of Discovery at Ruakaka, we think he sort of gets in nicely. He's come back well following the gelding. He's had a really good break, a talented galloper on his day, and his trials suggest he's on the right path, so fingers crossed he can go put it out on race day.
I'm a bit keen on St Bridget on Sunday at Taupo. Run well the other day at Tiraba, got back, run home, possibly the best sectionals of the race, I'm not sure. But 1800 on Sunday, good chance.
Oh, this weekend. Oh, I'll have to go with Lodi Dodi. Yeah, she's going forward in the right direction. So yeah, definitely she'll be my pick.
I think Subiaco. He let us down a couple of times last season. He went up to win and done a few things wrong, but he's a year older and hopefully grown a bit more of a brain. But he's got a lot of ability. So yeah, Subiaco.
There you have it. We've got plenty of tips to try and follow this weekend. Who do you think will come through, Leith?
Well, I heard that every trainer that tips a winner gets a free coffee from Aidan Rogers, so I don't know if he's got his own coffee cart going yet, his coffee cart business, or... But look, I thought of the team there, I was going to go probably Zanzibar of Andrew Forsman's.
Okay, my best bet's in there, so we'll hold fire for that, eh?
And what about you, Swains? Do you like something out of that lot?
They're all in the north, aren't they?
Oh, here we go.
Rah, rah, rah. We'll get some from the CD at the trials on Tuesday.
You know
we'll
you're coming to Taupo on Sunday?
But it is good. It's wonderful that the trainers are doing that for us, right? It is great, and they were very good last week, so pleased to follow.
Yeah, they certainly were, and hopefully we'll be very good this week. Here are our best bets for the weekend, and we always start with this man to my left. Leith, what are you liking?
Look, Pip, George Simon's not going to be too happy with me, but Brago, Shelley Howe, Opie Bossum on this week. Barrier 3. Look, he was a little bit unlucky here, I thought. Gets a senior jockey on this week. Opie's had 37 rides with Shelley Howe for 7 wins and 10 placings, so they really click, and he doesn't have to improve too much the track. I think the best thing about him, he gets back to that true rail position. Race 2, yeah, I think Brago's a great bet at $4.20 at the moment.
Just finds a really nice race too, I agree. I've gone for Andrew Scott's tip there in the trainers. Ruakaka, of course, he was disqualified last time out. Did finish really close up and had won 2 of the previous 3. Just finds a really nice race as well. So Ruakaka for me in the 4th at Taupo.
Stick with Perfect Pete. Broke a couple of my cardinal rules. When a senior rider goes on, it'll go very close to winning. But I do like Crunchy Boy on Sunday for Bill Thurlow. It's trialled up beautifully. Woodville, it'll hug the rail. It is in the last, and that might be some concern with the track, but I think it's improving. Crunchy Boy will go very close to winning on Sunday, fresh up this preparation.
And I'm going for a previous racetrack and one of Sween's bank builders, Florin. Steps up to the 1400 metres, was really eye-catching at Te Rapa. Just hopefully doesn't get too far off them and can power on home in the second to pick up the win with Alan Nicholas in the saddle as well.
You just need to jump right. You've got to get that jump right.
Yeah, I know. I'll be holding my breath, I will tell you, whilst I watch that race to jump. And also jumping in this week is the Whale. Now, he did get his winner home last weekend too, so he's with Electo there at Alexandra Park on Friday. Rozzo's with Charlie Horse, hoping to bounce back into the winner's circle. Leith, you're with Brago, you're hoping for a tick, as am I. Aidan's already on the board, hoping for another one, and Bevan is with Crunchy Boy. And that does complete us for the form for another week. Really looking forward to the action. I think there's going to be so much to talk about really after this weekend.
The best thing is those 3-year-old races, you're going to have to watch those replays over and over again. And look, those tracks, Taupo's a little bit tricky. Ruakaka could be tricky with that rail in the true as well.
Yeah, exactly. So those 3-year-old races are all important for what's ahead, but we've also got horses who are getting ready for Prasia Plate. We've got horses down at Woodville getting ready for, Grand Nationals, Pakadanga Hunt Cup and things as well. So we've got a really interesting weekend, mainly with a view to what's coming up.
And you'll be in Brisbane?
Yeah, I'm going to take the weekend off. So I've already said to trainers, if there's a scratching, get hold of the jockey.
Yeah, exactly. And Bevan, I'm looking forward to seeing you not only at New Plymouth, but of course at Taupo as well. Thanks for all your input.
Oh, I'm looking forward to the weekend, and when we see the spring horses out, it just means you're not standing out in that cold southerly across the nation. So looking forward to the spring. It's a pretty exciting time of year, and looking forward to seeing those good horses in those trials at Taupo, and then the good horses in the 3-year-old out of Taupo. Hope everyone finds a winner or two across the weekend.
Yeah, we certainly hope, though. Thanks to Letha and Aidan and all of you at home for watching. We'll catch you back next week.